everybody, it's the Lawn Gnome and welcome to another DCAU update. If you're new to my channel, let me just say welcome. It's a pleasure to have you, and for all of you returning, I'm sure you're excited to continue on with the 80th anniversary of Batman's celebration. And I am really proud to give you guys the newest installment of this vastly growing library. It is based on one of the most beloved Batman stories in recent years, created by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, Batman Hush. So, of course, this is based on the graphic novel of the same name, and I have to admit, when they announced this film adaptation, I was very excited, and yet very skeptical all at the same time. Because when it comes to such a beloved Batman story, you're always nervous about whether or not the film adaptation is going to get it right. Because one of the few things that they specifically said when they first announced it and gave us a preview, that it was not entirely going to be based page for page around the graphic novel. It was actually going to be incorporated into the world that they have created for these DC animated movies that are all connected, starting with Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. So in this film, we see Batman who is just doing what he does, but then all of a sudden a brand new villain comes into the fray, and he goes by the alias of Hush. And one of the few things that drives Batman crazy in regards to foiling this criminal is the fact that he is a true mystery, because not only is he giving Batman something new to try and figure out how to foil, he also has a lot of cards on the table in regards to going up against Batman, and it includes a large amount of Batman's rogues gallery. And the interesting thing is, because of the fact that these specific members of Batman's rogues gallery are in this plan of Hush, they're not acting like Batman is familiar with, so Batman has literally been thrown a curveball. And this is a villain that truly tests his limits to the point where he might in fact actually cross over that line that he drew in the sand many years when he first put on the Batman cape and cowl. So I was also a little bit excited along with the skepticism, just because of the fact that we were going to get a lot of favorite faces, including the rest of Batman's Gotham Knights, including Nightwing, even an appearance from Batgirl and Robin. We also have the voice cast returning that we have seen in so many of these recent Batman movies that are interlocking, including Sean Mayer as Nightwing, Jason O'Mara as Batman, Stuart Allen as Robin, and we also get Once Upon a Time's Jennifer Morrison, who plays another character that has a massive role in the Batman Hush story, and that is Catwoman. And of course, one of the more interesting parts about this film is the role that Catwoman has to play in this story. So the positives about this movie, there's a good bunch of them. One of them is definitely the color palette. The recurring color in this film is definitely a greenish color, but it goes so well with the grays and the browns and the blacks and the purples. It is just an absolutely stunning color palette, along with the rest of the production value. And also the animation, especially in recent years, has really gone up a notch. There was a point in time where I was criticizing these films because I thought that there was a massive downgrade from an animation standpoint, but they definitely seem to have done a lot more in terms of making it fluid once again, just like the older films that we got when this library first began. We also have an amazing score from Frederick Widman, who really drives the story, but it's not the music or the colors or the production that really drives this story. It is definitely our main characters. Batman is such an interesting version of himself in Hush because of how he is being tested through the acts of this new villain. Also, Catwoman's role even sparks a love story throughout this film. And it is also a very interesting thing to actually see not just Batman, but Bruce Wayne play a major role in this movie, for the sake of Bruce trying to figure out how he can finally find that balance in regards to his real world and his social life next to the crime fighting, and trying to see if it can actually finally be given the balance that he has been yearning for so many years. If there is anything negative that I can really say about this movie, is it's really because of the fact that there are a few gaping points in this film that are just very slow, and I kind of lose interest. Don't get me wrong, the dynamics of the characters are fantastic. I absolutely love how Batman plays off of everybody in this movie. From Alfred to Damian to Catwoman, it's just fantastic. There is drama, there is action, there's even some very smart and witty humor peppered throughout this movie, and it actually gives me a bunch of laughs when I actually see the jokes hit, because they're done very well, they're perfectly timed, and they're on point. I also will say that one of the small down points about this movie is probably the voice that they got for the Joker, who is Jason Spizak. Now, he's done a lot of great voice work for the DC animated universe in many different areas. As the Joker, there was just something about that character that was a little off. It didn't necessarily take away from the movie as a whole, merely because of the fact that the Joker really doesn't have a major role in this movie. One of the other things is there's a lot of Batman's Rogues Gallery in this movie, but not all of them have major roles. Some of them have larger roles than others, but the ones that don't really have a major role, they're there for just a few minutes, and they're just there for the sake of saying, hey, it's a Batman story, let's throw as many of these villains as we possibly can in there. And I'm pretty sure, since I never did read the comics, and quite frankly, I think I should have before I saw this movie, there probably were bigger roles for some of these other villains that only were there for a split second. They probably had a much bigger role in the comic books as a whole. But I will still say that this movie is definitely a great installment. It has a great deal of good stuff to take away from it, alongside the bad. It's not the most perfect movie, but it still is a very enjoyable watch. However, when it comes to the purists of these great Batman stories, there's always going to be criticism, no matter how you slice it, and I'm pretty sure there are a great deal of people who will disagree with what I'm saying. But if you do want to see this movie adaptation of Batman Hush, and you do want to see what the adaptation is like, then I highly recommend that you do. For Batman fans, it's great. It's also got a couple of other great appearances from other heroes and villains as well. It's definitely a real treat, especially if you just want to see as many characters in a great Batman story, given good roles as well. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below, and let's discuss Batman Hush, and I will see you in the next DCAU update. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.